Okay, so we've created our first extrusion. Now what I want to do now is actually show you that you don't have to just sketch on sketch planes, either the front one or the right one. But we can actually sketch on any planar surface. Okay, so a planar surface is basically one that doesn't have curves or anything like that. That gets a little bit more complicated. Any planar surface, flat surface, we can actually sketch on as well. And I'm going to show you a different type of sketch, something a little bit more interesting. And let's sketch it on one of these side faces. Okay, so I'm going to click on, first of all, I'm going to click on that side face because that's the face that I would like to sketch on. I'm going to go to my sketch button here and I'm going to go to sketch. Now, it hasn't automatically rotated this model for me, but that just doesn't matter. I can do that myself. So I can go to this middle button here, this view orientation, down to this one, normal 2. Normal 2 will orientate that model so that I am facing the correct side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two things actually. I'm going to take a circle. Now, it's really good. You see that whenever you're creating a sketch, if you hover over a plane or something like that, it snaps to it. So you can see it highlights that plane and effectively snaps to that plane. Now, we talked about relationships in terms of parent and child relationships with features. Sketches also have lots of relationships built into them. And we need to learn about those, and I'll talk to you about those in more detail. Things like tangency and concentric relationships. But we'll talk about those in a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to grab this circle. I've snapped it onto that center line. Okay, and I'm just going to bring that out to wherever I want it to be. Now here, I can actually change this parameter immediately. Okay, I don't have to go in and add a smart dimension. I can always add a smart dimension to change it if I want to. But here it's giving me a radius. Now remember the difference between radius and diameter. A radius is half of the diameter going from the center to the outside of that circle. And this is at the moment a radius of 24 millimeters. So let's change it. Let's just change it to 25. Click enter, that looks about right. Okay, click the tick to finish. Now notice here, what have we got? We've got this little green square next to the center of our circle. Okay, and if I hover over it, it says coincident. So these little green boxes in your sketches are the relationships. So what coincident means is one item on top of the other, they're in the same place at that point in time, in that point in 3D space, two items are on top of each other, exactly the same area. So what's happened is, and this is what I was showing you when it snapped to, is that the center of the circle is snapped to, is coincident with the datum plane. So the datum plane, that 2D datum plane that we learned about before, that's going through the middle, and we've got this coincident relationship. That means that if I pick this up, if I just go to the edge and I want to move it around, you see I can't move. I can go to the center, I can move it around, I can move it up and down, but I can't move it left and right because otherwise we'd be breaking that relationship. If that makes sense. Okay, but I can click and drag and move the outsides, and I can reset that. So maybe I'm just going to set that back to 25 if I want. Okay, so I've created my circle, but what if I want to set the position of it? Okay, I've just kind of arbitrarily placed it. I know what the radius of the circle is, but what I don't know is how it's positioned relative to everything else. I know it is coincident to this central plane, but that's all I know at the moment. So this is where we go back to our smart dimensions, and we can actually dimension not just the features that we're drawing, but the features in relation to other elements of our 3D model. Okay, so click on Smart Dimension. You can see here, it's already picked up that I might want to look at the diameter of this circle. That's fine actually. I had it pre-selected, so I'm just going to click to accept that pre-select. Modify, I don't need to modify that because I've already set that. But look, I can also do, still my dimension tab, dimensions still open, I haven't clicked it yet. I can go from the top, for example, to the center. So left click followed by another left click to that center line, so that center dot, and bring that out here. Depending on where I drag out, depends on the dimension that I get. Now I don't really have any choices here, it's pretty obvious which one I want to do. So drag that out to 38.2. So I might be able to set that to 35. Now I know that this circle, 50 millimeters in diameter, 35 from the very top to the center of the circle, and it's in the center of my part. Okay, click the tick once we're happy, and we can exit this now, and we've created a sketch. So middle click, scroll wheel, zoom in that, see what it is, and you can see we've created that sketch on that face, on that surface. Now I could extrude again, I could add some more material, but it's just as easy to add material as it is to subtract material. So let's just do that now. So go on to features, and this time, you see here, we went to extrude base last time. Just come along a bit. These are the cut features on this right hand side. So adding material is on the left and cutting material is on the right. Extrude cut, what I might do this time. I haven't selected anything. Last time I was pre-selected. Now I need to pre-select my circle. So I'm going to select my circle. That's what I want to cut. Blind. At the moment it's taking it blind 100 millimeters all the way through. I can just drag that in a bit if I want to. Maybe just set this to 50 millimeters. So it's going about halfway through. That's about right for me. Don't want it to go in the other direction because there's no point in it going in the negative direction because there's no material for it to cut there. So once we're happy, click the tick, and there we have it. So middle mouse button, scroll around, and we have got our hole in our square, in our cube.